Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the channel, hosted by Six-Path Weeb. Today's discussion centers on our fanfic topic, What if Naruko abandoned Team 7? Part 2. Disclaimer, the content on this channel is intended solely for entertainment and discussion. I do not own any of the anime footage used in these videos. All rights and credits belong to their respective creators and copyright holders. Let us begin our exploration. 3 days later, the three Genin approached the academy building to commence the Chunin exams. A large assembly of Genin awaited entry. "What do you think, guys?" Naruto inquired. "Should we blend with the crowd or head directly to the third floor?" They were supposed to proceed to room 301. "I propose we bypass this group," Sasuke replied. "You would suggest that, wouldn't you?" Naruto smirked. Sasuke grunted. "As if you'd prefer to deal with them, dead last." "I don't know, Sasuke. Don't you want to show off?" Naruto asked. "Perhaps a little," Sasuke conceded, "but not to this rabble. Most of these individuals are Konoha shinobi unlikely to advance, considering their age. The majority were in their late teens and early 20s, beyond the age when elite shinobi were typically Chunin, if not Jounin." "Be considerate, Naruto," Sasuke, Hinata interjected. "Many of them lack clan support." Sasuke and Naruto both snorted. "You understand what I mean," Hinata continued. "Even if your clans aren't present, you both possess high chakra reserves and other advantages." Naruto conceded that this was true. While she had not received formal training before Kakashi, being on a team with two clan heirs gave her an edge. This did not account for her bloodline abilities, her substantial chakra reserves allowing for numerous shadow clones, or the Kyuubi augmenting her chakra further. "Regardless," Sasuke asserted, "let's avoid them." The girls nodded in agreement. "I know the best way to sneak to the third floor," Naruto said. "Of course you do," Sasuke smirked. "You've had to sneak in after being chased around all morning following one of your pranks, haven't you, dead last?" Naruto raised her chin and said as haughtily as she could manage, "I'll have you know that none of my pranks are foolish, Sasuke." "Whatever," Sasuke responded. "Lead the way, dead last." Naruto activated her Byakugan and led them to the back of the building. "We're in luck," she observed. "There's an open window on the third floor. We can walk up the wall." Using chakra, the three ascended the wall and climbed through the window, emerging into an empty classroom on the third floor. They noticed individuals entering a room at the far end of the corridor, recognizing it as room 301. As they approached the door, Naruto spotted Kakashi in a side room. He flickered in front of them, causing Naruto to smirk as her Byakugan diminished some of his mystique. "I expected you to arrive together due to our last mission," Kakashi said, "but there are formalities to observe. Only full teams of 3 Genin can participate in the Chunin exams. I wish you good luck and remind you to look after each other." "Will do, Sensei," Naruto responded. "Thanks for the well wishes." Sasuke simply smirked, and Hinata offered a quick bow in acknowledgement. "Wait a moment," Naruto said. She grabbed Sasuke's arm as he was about to enter and pulled him aside, with Hinata following. "Let Hinata and me assess the competition." Kakashi lingered to hear what Naruto and Hinata would say. Hinata and Naruto activated their Byakugan, scanning the room with precision. 3 chakra signatures immediately caught Naruto's attention, with 2 others appearing suspicious. The remaining signatures were at the Genin or Chunin level. "I detect 5 unusual chakra signatures," Hinata reported. "One belongs to Gaara from Suna, who possesses Jounin level chakra reserves. Remember what I mentioned about him?" Sasuke and Hinata acknowledged her observation. "There is also someone with even greater chakra reserves, and her chakra core appears peculiar. She has green hair and hails from Taki. I suspect she might be similar to you and Gaara," Hinata noted. "I agree," Naruto responded. "Additionally, there is a red-haired girl from Kusa with Jounin level chakra. Her chakra is significant but lacks refinement," Hinata remarked. "It might indicate naturally high reserves." "Red hair and substantial chakra reserves?" Kakashi interjected. "She could be an Uzumaki." Naruto's eyes brightened. "That would be incredible." "Exercise caution," Kakashi advised. "Even if she is a distant relative, she belongs to another village and may have different objectives. Your lack of red hair and recent changes might make it difficult for her to recognize you as an Uzumaki." Naruto felt a tinge of disappointment. She longed to know if the Kuzen ninja was a relative but acknowledged Kakashi's advice. "There are 2 others whose chakra is suppressed, making it difficult to gauge. One is a feminine-looking older boy from Kusa with a straw hat and long, dark hair. The other is an older, silver-haired boy from Konoha wearing glasses. You can discern that their chakra is suppressed? Kakashi inquired with interest. Yes, it's denser than normal, particularly around their gates. I've learned to suppress my chakra for stealth purposes during my pranks, and I recognize the pattern from my clones. I understand, Naruto, Hinata said. Intriguing, Kakashi mused. While suppressing chakra is a skill most jounin possess, it is rare for Genin. These two might have large reserves they wish to conceal, like you, Naruto. However, it's wise to remain cautious around them. Including the Konoha ninja? Hinata asked. Kakashi replied, ideally, a Konoha shinobi wouldn't harm another, but in the context of the exams, he might attempt to eliminate you as a competitor. Stay vigilant. Best of luck. With a signature I smile, he vanished in a flicker. Several teams had entered during their conversation, none of whom they recognized. Exchanging glances, the trio proceeded into the room and submitted their forms to a Chunin at the entrance. Almost immediately, high-pitched cries of Sasuke-kun filled the air. Ino leapt onto Sasuke's back. Did you miss me, Sasuke-kun? Sakura shrieked, get off my Sasuke-kun, Ino pig. Naruto and Hinata exchanged exasperated looks. Fangirls, Naruto muttered. Sasuke glanced at them pleadingly, but Naruto shook her head and took Hinata's arm, determined to avoid the commotion with Sakura and Ino. So, you guys are participating in this troublesome exam too? Shikamaru remarked as he and Kuji approached. Shikamaru slouched with his hands in his pockets, while Kuji munched on chips. Greetings, Shikamaru, Kuji, Naruto began. It seems Sasuke has a more arduous task ahead of him. Sasuke, you say? Shikamaru responded. Have you reconciled with him? Well, he's not so bad once he decides you're not useless, Naruto remarked. Why do you think he gets along with you, then? Kiba interjected as he joined the group. Akamaru, Naruto addressed dryly, can't you keep your companion under control? Akamaru barked amusedly while Kiba gave an exaggerated laugh. You should lower your voices, said a silver-haired boy, whom Naruto had noticed was concealing his chakra earlier. You rookies are drawing too much attention. So, you have taken the exam before? Sakura inquired. Sasuke, now free, stood beside Naruto and gave her an irritated look. Naruto merely shrugged. Yes, the silver-haired boy replied. This is my 7th attempt. Wow, Kiba exclaimed. You must not be very good. Or perhaps the exams are extremely challenging, the older boy countered. As you're rookies from my village, I'll assist you. He produced a stack of cards. These are my Nin info cards, containing information on various villages and contestants. Those are blank, Kiba observed. They're encoded with my chakra for security. He channeled chakra into the cards, revealing a map of the elemental nations with numbers indicating the number of contestants from each area. Is the information that special? Sasuke asked sarcastically. Not particularly, the boy said. It's mostly from public databases, but every bit helps. Is there anyone or anything you'd like to know about? Who are the 3 toughest contestants? Kiba asked. How about your own card? Sasuke suggested. My own card, he laughed. You're fortunate I'm thorough. My name is Yakashi Kabuto. I've completed 30 C-rank missions and 327 D-rank missions. My teammates are Akata Yoroi and Tsurugi Misumi, under Jounin Suzuki Hideo. I'm a certified medic nin. He looked up. I'm nothing special. He shuffled his cards. As for the 3 toughest contestants, I'd say, Sabaku no Gaara from Suna, Hyuga Neji from Konoha, and Uchiha Sasuke, also from Konoha. Kiba snorted at the last name while Naruto elbowed Sasuke and whispered, don't let it go to your head. Sasuke grunted in response. Sabaku no Gaara. Completed 1B rank and 8 C ranks. His teammates are his siblings Tamari and Kankuro, under Jounin Baki. Rumor has it he's never been scratched on any mission. Hyuga Neji. Completed 16 C ranks and 416 D ranks. His teammates are Tenten and Rock Lee, under Jounin Mito Gai. He was last year's Rookie of the Year and is considered a genius, proficient in the Hyuga Gentle Fist Taijutsu style and the Hyuga Byakugan bloodline. Uchiha Sasuke. Completed 2 C ranks and 62 D ranks. His teammates are Hyuga Hinata and Uzumaki Naruto, under Jounin Hatake Kakashi. He was this year's Rookie of the Year and is also rated as a genius. He recently awakened the Uchiha Sharingan bloodline ability and is rumored to have helped free Nami no Kuni from a warlord along with his team. Sasuke frowned, likely at the mention of his bloodline. Sakura and Ino shrieked and chattered about their Sasuke-kun being a hero. Even without considering elite Shin'an like Sasuke, Neji, and Gaara, there are formidable contestants from Konoha, Kuza, Taki, Ame, and even a new village called Ado. They will all be challenging, except perhaps the newcomers. Naruto felt a killing intent directed at their group and turned to see 3 shinobi from Ado approaching. She activated her Byakugan. Note this on your cards, the lead Ado shinobi said, the shinobi from Ado will undoubtedly make Chunin. He swung his right fist at Kabuto, revealing a metal device with holes on his forearm. Kabuto managed to dodge initially but soon doubled over, retching and clutching his ears. Kiba and his companion, Akamaru, both expressed their distress, with Kiba covering his ears. Naruto observed waves of chakra emanating from the device. Turning to Sasuke and Hinata, she quietly asked, "Sound?" Given the name of their village, this theory seemed plausible. "I believe so," Sasuke replied in a hushed tone. Hinata nodded in agreement. "Attention, everyone." A commanding voice interrupted. The group turned to see a scarred man with a bandana at the front of the room. "If you haven't selected a seat number, do so immediately and take your place. If you auto ninjas attempt anything like this again, you'll be disqualified, understood?" "Apologies, sir," the auto shinobi who had disrupted Kabuto responded. "We were merely excited." Naruto selected a number from a Chunin and proceeded to her seat. The only familiar face nearby was Aburame Shino. The proctor, Morino Ibiki, outlined the exam rules: 10 questions worth 10 points, with 1 point deducted for each incorrect answer and 2 points for cheating. If a participant's score dropped to 0, their entire team would be disqualified. The first 9 questions were on a written test, with the final question to be given later. Naruto's spirits sank upon realizing it was a written exam. She examined the questions and found herself unable to answer them. As she began doodling on the exam paper, she noticed other participants cheating. Reflecting on the rules, she found it peculiar that cheating resulted in point deductions rather than immediate disqualification. Recalling Kakashi's advice to look underneath the underneath, she concluded that avoiding detection while cheating might be the essence of the test. She placed her arm on the desk and rested her head on it, concealing the veins that appeared when she used her Byakugan. Activating the technique, she observed several participants who had completed or were nearing completion of their answers. She compared their responses, selected the most accurate ones, and memorized them. She then resumed her position and filled in her answers. After completing the test, she rested her head on her desk and began to doze off. She awoke to Ibiki explaining the rules for the 10th question. "You have the option to attempt the 10th question or forfeit," Ibiki announced. "If you forego it, your team will be eliminated, but your career will remain intact. If you choose to answer and fail, you will remain a Genin indefinitely. This rule has been endorsed by the leaders of your respective villages." Various participants voiced their objections, but Naruto remained resolute. She believed that true shinobi value risk over safety and doubted Ibiki had the Hokage's consent for his rule. She looked at her teammates and gave a firm nod. Sasuke mirrored her resolve, though Hinata appeared uncertain. As several contestants exited, including some she had thought were well prepared, the tension in the room increased. Almost half of the seats were vacated. Hinata seemed on the verge of capitulation again. In response, Naruto stood and slammed her fist on the desk. "Being a shinobi isn't about playing it safe," she declared. "I don't believe you have the authority to bar me from becoming a Chunin, but even if you do, I'm prepared to take that risk. If necessary, I'll be the first Genin promoted to Kage." The atmosphere in the room shifted as no one else left. Ibiki frowned but allowed them a moment to consider their choices. "Very well," he said. "You all wish to attempt the 10th question?" Nods affirmed his question. "Then you all pass." The room buzzed with questions about the missing 10th question. Ibiki explained that Chunin are expected to take risks. He removed his bandana to reveal additional scars earned in the line of duty. When asked about the purpose of the first 9 questions, he explained that Chunin are expected to be resourceful. Naruto, half listening, resumed doodling. Ibiki's manner was even drier than Irika's. Suddenly, a window shattered as a banner unfurled across the wall with kunai holding it in place. A figure leapt through the broken window and landed beneath the banner, which read, "The sexy and single-second exam proctor, Mitarashi Anko." "This is no time for celebration," the figure exclaimed. "Mitarashi Anko will be the proctor for the next exam." The entire room focused intently on Anko. "You're early," remarked Ibiki. Anko offered a sheepish chuckle before surveying the room. "So many of you? Have you lost your touch, Ibiki-kun?" "We've got a solid group this time," he responded. "Ha!" she retorted. "I'll reduce their numbers, at the very least." She scanned the room before continuing, "All right, everyone. Follow me to Training Ground 44. You have 30 minutes to arrive." With that, she leapt out of the window and disappeared. Ibiki sighed. "If you're unsure of the location, consult one of my assistants for a map." Naruto approached his teammates, while Sasuke grabbed a map. "Let's go," Sasuke instructed. As they jogged towards the training ground, Naruto asked Hinata, "Why were you considering giving up, Hinata-chan? Don't you believe in yourself by now?" Hinata averted her gaze as they ran. "It's not about that, Naruto-chan. I just didn't want to hinder your dream of becoming Hokage." Naruto gave her a light tap on the shoulder. "Thanks for thinking of me, Hinata-chan, but I meant what I said to Ibiki-san. I will become Hokage, even if I have to be promoted from Junon. Life's too short for self-doubt." "All right, Naruto-chan. I'll try to have more faith in you. It's not just about me. Believe in yourself and our team. Remember, the Hokage selected us to invite the daimyo. We're going to excel," Naruto encouraged. "The dead last is right. We're the team to beat," Sasuke added. "Let's avoid conflict with the other Jinchuriki, if possible," Naruto suggested. "I'd prefer to keep things under control." At the entrance to the training ground, the Chunin hopefuls gathered by their respective villages. The Konoha rookies grouped together. Naruto and Hinata exchanged amused glances as Ino and Sakura once again surrounded Sasuke. Kiba, meanwhile, was loudly attempting to impress Hinata with his boasts. Signs on the gates read: Training Ground 44. Forest of Death. Keep out. Forest of Death, huh? Kiba shouted. More like Forest of Easy Pickings. A kunai skimmed Kiba's cheek, prompting him to slap his hand over the scratch and yelp. "It's always the loud ones who fall first," Anko commented from behind Kiba. The dark-haired Kuzen ninja, whom Naruto suspected was suppressing his chakra, presented the kunai to Anko with a flourish. "Here's your kunai, Proctor-san," he said. "Be cautious about sneaking up on me," Anko advised. "Shinobi reflexes can be hazardous." "I merely got excited due to the blood and the loss of some of my precious hair," the Kuzen ninja replied with an overly sweet tone. Anko rolled her eyes. "All right, tough guy." Anko raised her voice. "Listen up, everyone. I will now explain the rules." She detailed that each team would receive one of 2 scrolls. The objective was to reach the tower at the center of the vast training ground with both types of scrolls and your full team. Teams could use any means necessary to obtain the required scroll from another team. They had a total of 120 hours, exactly 5 days, to complete the task. 5 days? Kuji exclaimed, his voice filled with alarm. "What are we supposed to do about food? Are you shinobi or not?" Anko retorted sharply. "Find your own sustenance. The forest is teeming with wildlife, if it doesn't consume you first. Since it's likely that some of you may not make it out alive, I have consent forms here. They outline the risks and absolve Konoha and, more importantly, me of any responsibility. Once everyone on your team has signed, you can exchange the form for either a heaven or earth scroll. A proctor will escort you to a gate. The second exam begins in 30 minutes. Naruto and her teammates collected the forms. Naruto quickly skimmed the document before signing it. The trio exchanged their forms for a heaven scroll, which Naruto tucked securely into her vest. A Chunin directed them to one of the many gates in the training ground, allowing them entry when the pocket watch indicated the right time. In silence, Team 7 assumed their usual formation. Naruto created 12 clones, activating the Byakugan and disguising them as foxes. The clones paired off and traveled parallel to them, maintaining a distance of approximately 50 meters. Hinata led, followed by Sasuke, with Naruto bringing up the rear. After about 15 minutes of travel, Naruto whistled a signal to stop. "What's the plan?" she inquired. "Can you spot any teams?" Sasuke asked. With the Byakugan's range extending approximately 2 kilometers in each direction, Naruto responded, "I can identify 3 teams on either side of us. The Sand team with Gaara is the third team to the north. The remaining 5 teams don't seem noteworthy. The second team to the south is from Ame, with low chakra levels and an earth scroll. I could likely handle them with just my clones. That team might be just outside my range," Hinata noted. Alright, let's move toward them, Sasuke decided. I'd prefer to face a challenge, but it's more prudent to complete this stage swiftly. This environment is too unpredictable. The third exam is a one-on-one combat tournament, Hinata reminded them. That will satisfy my desire for a personal test, Sasuke agreed. I'll create a clone to lead us, Naruto announced. They bypassed the nearest team, who possessed a heaven scroll, and approached their targets. These opponents are barely alert, Naruto observed as they stopped 200 meters away. I concur, Hinata agreed. Sasuke grunted in acknowledgement. Send in your clones. It had taken weeks for Kakashi to instill the importance of prioritizing the mission over personal pride in Sasuke and Naruto, a lesson they had fully absorbed only after their experiences in Nami. Naruto produced 6 shadow clones. The real Genin followed as backup, though it proved unnecessary. Naruto's clones launched their bolas, swiftly entangling the Ame Genin at their shins and chests. Pitiful, Sasuke sneered. Naruto retrieved the scroll from the lead Ame Genin. I'll leave some clones behind to ensure these Genin don't follow us, Naruto said. The Konoha Genin set off at a brisk pace, running side by side. I'll dispatch more clones to scout for additional targets and to thin the competition while we make our way to the tower. Hinata and Sasuke concurred. Naruto created 24 additional clones, sending them out in groups of 6. The 3 of them resumed their standard formation. After an hour of jogging, Naruto detected a significant chakra signature approaching rapidly. High Jounin level chakra. It's heading straight for us, she alerted them. She noticed a wave of chakra converging on her position. Just before it could reach her, she utilized a contingency clone to replace her. The contingency clone was engulfed by what appeared to be a great breakthrough. Naruto quickly summoned 10 shadow clones, which scattered into the surrounding brush. Joining Hinata and Sasuke, Naruto formed their standard shallow triangular formation, with Hinata at the front. A clapping sound echoed through the forest. The unsettling Kuza shinobi, who had been concealing his chakra, stepped into view. Excellent work, he remarked. I must say, you exceed the expectations of the dead last, Naruto-chan. Who are you to address me as Chan, Kuza shinobi? Naruto demanded. Ku, he chuckled ominously. You'll find out. If you survive. He unleashed a wave of killing intent that caused the Genin to stagger. The Kuza ninja threw a barrage of shuriken at them, which the Genin narrowly avoided. Kakashi had prepared them to handle killing intent following the incident in Nami, but this was far more intense than anything Kakashi had subjected them to. Run or fight? Sasuke asked tersely, his dislike for retreating evident. He's too fast for us to outrun, Naruto replied. And his chakra reserves rival the Hokage's. We're probably doomed either way, but I'd rather face him head on if it comes to that. Agreed, Sasuke said. Alright, Hinata said as she stepped forward. Their adversary continued to hurl shuriken, but Hinata expertly deflected them with her chakra-coated palms. Do you think you can defeat me, Hyuga? The Kuza ninja taunted. They say you're more of a mouse than a shinobi. Ignoring the provocation, Hinata closed the distance, ready to strike with her gentle fist technique. Over the past months, she had expanded her repertoire beyond the traditional Hyuga style, incorporating chakra-laced kicks and increased speed. This new style, combined with her Byakugan, allowed her to match and even surpass her teammates' taijutsu skills, although it only partially countered Sasuke's Sharingan. Hinata unleashed a flurry of strikes, but the Kuza ninja deftly evaded her attacks. Despite her speed, he was even faster. The antagonist leapt back and thrust his palm toward Hinata, releasing a volley of snakes. She whistled her signal to refrain from replacement and began to move erratically, her chakra blades forming a barrier. The snakes collided with the barrier and dissipated into smoke. Well done, Hyuga, he commented. The reports about you were inaccurate. You developed that technique yourself, didn't you? Hinata glared at him, gathering her strength for another assault. Seizing the moment, Sasuke unleashed a fireball jutsu at the enemy, but the ninja effortlessly cleared it with a chakra-powered leap. Naruto's clones followed, launching bolas and kunai at him. Although the Kuza ninja deflected most of the projectiles, the bolas wrapped around his arm, and the remaining weights hit him in the chest. This minor setback did little to impede him as he leapt over the remaining attacks and quickly disposed of the hindrance with a kunai. That weapon is quite bothersome, he remarked. Naruto smirked. You're Orochimaru, aren't you? Sasuke said, revealing his two Tomoe Sharingan. No one else uses snakes like that, apart from Anko-san. Very perceptive, Sasuke-kun, Orochimaru replied. I see the reports of your intelligence are accurate. Naruto contemplated swamping the forest with clones as a diversion but doubted its effectiveness since Orochimaru seemed to be targeting them specifically rather than any of Naruto's scouting clones. Hinata closed in on Orochimaru again, with Sasuke joining her in taijutsu combat. Naruto sent additional clones to assist or to replace them if needed. Several times, it appeared Hinata or Sasuke might have hit him, only for it to be revealed as a clone. Naruto activated her Sharingan to provide more precise support, allowing her to target Orochimaru safely while avoiding her teammates. What's this? Orochimaru inquired. Naruto-chan possesses both the Sharingan and the Byakugan? Naruto grimaced, wishing he hadn't discovered this detail, but they needed every advantage they could muster. He chuckled softly, how delightful. You would be ideal, were it not for your current companion, wouldn't you? You three make quite the team. I believe I shall extend my gift to all of you rather than just Sasuke. With a swift motion, he struck both Sasuke and Hinata, sending them crashing into trees with a speed that outpaced the contingency clone's response. Naruto felt her anger and concern intensifying. Kyuubi, I need assistance. She called out to the Baiju'u. The Kyuubi's chakra surged within her, and she harnessed it, releasing it outward. Her hair extended and transformed into 10 tail-like strands. What is this power? Orochimaru inquired, perplexed. It is not the Kyuubi. How intriguing. I eagerly await the moment you belong to me. She directed her hair toward him, but he either deflected or evaded it. Despite attempting a pincer maneuver, he continued to elude her. Her frustration and anger mounted as he deftly avoided her most formidable technique. Her Sharingan provided insight into his movements, but she was not agile enough to capitalize on it. Suddenly, his actions became clearer as her predictive abilities sharpened, yet she remained insufficiently swift. It seemed she had just unlocked her third Tomoe. She attempted to create clones, but lacking access to the Kyuubi's power, they were easily vanquished by the rogue shinobi. This has been entertaining, Naruto-chan, he remarked. However, your display of power will soon attract others, so I must conclude this encounter. Seek me out when you are prepared to gain even greater strength. With a sudden extension, his head shot forward as his neck lengthened. Naruto, with her Sharingan, saw the attack coming but could not react in time to block or evade it. She felt a sharp sting in her neck before darkness enveloped her. Naruto regained consciousness within her mindscape, finding herself once again in the desolate expanse of a lunar wasteland, with the imposing gate ahead and the earth suspended in the sky. This time, however, a large, slitted snake eye had appeared in the heavens. Surrounding the eye were 3 Tomoe, vaguely resembling the Sharingan, which intermittently blinked, allowing a snake to emerge. Each time, the Kyuubi's chakra swiftly vaporized the snake upon its contact with the lunar surface. Address this serpent, stepmother, the Kyuubi demanded scornfully from within its cage. I refuse to coexist with this pestilence. Naruto's irritation grew as the Kyuubi's mockery of her earlier fumbling explanation persisted, but she shared its distaste for the intrusion. Contemplating the most effective approach, she decided to utilize her hair for the task. Drawing upon the Kyuubi's chakra, she projected it outward, causing her hair to extend and reach toward the eye. As her hair made contact, she felt the foreign chakra attempting to infiltrate her. She resisted the intrusion and endeavored to absorb the eye's chakra, much like she had with Zetsu's. However, the snake eye's chakra was distinctly different from her own, making immediate absorption challenging. Persisting, she gradually adapted to the foreign chakra, finding its dark and repulsive nature dissimilar yet manageable. The process of purification was laborious but ultimately successful. As she absorbed the eye's chakra, the resistance diminished, eventually shattering the eye and its surrounding tomoe into disintegrating symbols. The residual energy dissipated with what seemed like a scream. The symbols unraveled completely, leaving no trace behind. The Kyuubi snorted. Took you long enough, stepmother. Naruto ignored the Baiju'u's taunt and focused on regaining full consciousness. Back in the waking world, Naruto awoke to find herself in a cave. Hinata and Sasuke were being tended by several of her shadow clones. Boss. A few of the clones greeted. We're relieved you're awake. How long was I out? She inquired. About 2 hours. Are there more of you? She asked, noting the 6 clones present in the cave. Yes, they're stationed outside, one clone replied. The others you sent for additional scrolls have returned. They managed to retrieve one more Earth scroll before the attack. What transpired after I lost consciousness? Orochimaru bit Hinata-chan and Sasuke-kun. He was aware of our presence and instructed us to protect you as best we could before departing. He warned us of more challenges to come, so we recalled the rest and secured this defensible position. And Hinata-chan and Sasuke-kun's condition? Not good, especially Hinata-chan, the spokesperson clone reported. She's suffering from a severe fever and is perspiring excessively. Without immediate assistance or a remedy similar to what you used on yourself, her survival is in jeopardy. One of you, dispel, Naruto commanded. The clone complied, and she reviewed its memories. The summary was accurate. Hinata lay moaning weakly, the seal having spread across her body and coiling around her like a living serpent. Naruto placed her hand over the wound on Hinata's neck, suspecting it was the seal's anchor. She extended her chakra senses toward her friend, distinguishing the pure and gentle nature of Hinata's chakra from the dark, invasive essence of Orochimaru's. Despite its similarity to her own chakra, Hinata's was cleaner and softer. She inferred that this was due to Hinata's distant descent from Kaguya. Orochimaru's chakra, however, was familiar from her previous encounter. She struggled to grip the hostile chakra, her affinity for Hinata's essence making the task more challenging. Eventually, she managed to latch onto and purify the dark chakra. The process was arduous compared to her own purification, but she persisted. Relief came as resistance faded, indicating the cessation of the seal's influence. She continued until the absorption was complete and then withdrew her chakra from Hinata. Hinata gasped and cried out in agony. Her chakra sensitivity detected a significant leakage of Hinata's energy through the area where the seal had been. It seemed the seal had become entangled with her friend's chakra network. In a state of desperation, she directed chakra back into Hinata at the spot from which she had extracted the dark energy. She infused a considerable amount of chakra, aiming to mend the wound. Naruto's surplus of chakra proved advantageous in this situation. She meticulously wove the chakra around the injury in Hinata's network, compacting it to stabilize the area. Despite her efforts, the leakage persisted, prompting her to add more chakra. Finally, she purified a portion of the Kyuubi's chakra and integrated it into the healing process. After cautiously withdrawing her hands and chakra, she took a deep breath of relief. The patch held. Using her Byakugan, she scrutinized Hinata. There was a noticeable concentration of chakra in her neck, resembling an additional chakra gate formed from Naruto's energy. Hinata's breathing had become more regular. Placing the back of her hand on Hinata's forehead, she noted that her fever seemed to be subsiding. Monitor her closely, she instructed her clones as she moved towards Sasuke. Although Sasuke was in a better condition compared to Hinata when she had started removing the snake's chakra from her, he was still in a precarious state. She extended her chakra senses into Sasuke. His native chakra, similar to hers yet darker, was not as menacing as the foreign chakra. His chakra exhibited a tough and sharp exterior, with a fiery undercurrent. The invasive chakra was deeply embedded, but she managed to begin its extraction. Once she had removed all traces of Orochimaru's chakra, she gradually retracted her own. Once again, she felt Sasuke's chakra starting to hemorrhage from the wound in his network. She repaired it similarly to Hinata's, and with a cautious withdrawal of her chakra, she was relieved when the patch remained intact. Her Byakugan revealed that Sasuke too had developed an additional chakra gate composed of Naruto's energy. Exhausted but relieved, she leaned back. "Boss, come look at this," one of her clones called out, pointing to Hinata's neck. Initially, she had 3 black tomos here that were swirling and expanding. Now it looks like a pale full moon. Naruto examined Hinata's neck and saw the clone was correct. A faint gray circle with slightly darker markings, resembling a rabbit or a face, was now discernible against Hinata's pale skin. She checked Sasuke's neck and found a similar pattern. Overcome with fatigue, she said, "I need to rest. Wake me if either of them regains consciousness or if any issues arise." With that, she lay down and fell asleep. Naruto awoke at twilight, retrieving some ration bars from a storage seal that Kakashi had placed in her vest. Given the sunset timing for this season, she estimated it had been around 6 hours since Orochimaru's attack. After consuming the ration bars, she stood up and performed some stretches. "Any developments?" she inquired of her clones. "None," one replied. "It's been quiet. Hinata-chan and Sasuke-kun are showing significant improvement. They should awaken soon." "I'm awake," Sasuke said. "What happened? How did we escape from Orochimaru?" "He released us," Naruto explained, after applying his disturbing mind control seal on us. "What?" Sasuke exclaimed in shock. "It's alright," said Naruto. "The Kyuubi protected me until I was able to absorb the chakra from the seal. I woke up and then absorbed the chakra in your seal and Hinata-chan's. You don't have any of the snake's chakra left in you. My clones protected us until then. You absorbed it? He said, raising an eyebrow. You remember what I told you about what happened with that Zetsu creature? It was like that, but harder, since Orochimaru's chakra isn't anything like mine. Do you think there will be any side effects? He asked. I don't know. After I absorbed the snake's chakra, you and Hinata-chan started leaking your own chakra through the wound. I had to make a patch with my own chakra. With my Byakugan I can see a lump of my chakra in you, almost like an extra chakra gate. I don't know if that will do anything to you. The only other thing is that where the snake had tried to mark you guys, there's a moon mark instead. Really? He asked. Yeah, come look at Hinata-chan's. Naruto gently moved the cloth band that held Hinata's leaf badge so that Sasuke could see her neck. I have one of those too? Sasuke asked. Naruto nodded. Do you have one? He asked. I don't know. I didn't think to have a clone look. Naruto bared her neck. First one side and then the other. I don't see one, he said. Why don't you have one? Maybe it's because the Kyuubi protected me and so the seal never got a foothold in my chakra network, she replied. Sasuke grunted. Should we wake up Hinata-chan? He asked. Naruto shook her head. Let her sleep. She had a worse reaction to the seal than you did. I think she almost died. I've been thinking about whether we should make for the tower or not. With our dujutsus we could probably make it in the dark, but I think it would be better to try in the morning to give Hinata-chan more time to recover. Sasuke grunted and then pulled out some ration bars. Naruto took the first and last watch that night with Sasuke taking the middle watch. In the morning, Hinata woke up. She was a little worse for wear, but claimed she could run and fight. Naruto explained what had happened to her and made Sasuke show Hinata his moon mark. Hinata thanked Naruto profusely for freeing her from Orochimaru's cursed seal. They quickly ate more ration bars and had some water. Naruto formed up contingency clones and they made a run for the tower. Thanks to Naruto's Byakugan, they avoided other teams. After they had been traveling for 2 hours, Naruto called a halt. I can see the girl we thought might be my cousin and she's alone. I want to talk to her. Are you sure? Asked Sasuke. She's from Kusa, just like Orochimaru was posing to be from. It could be a trap. Naruto nodded. Wouldn't you take a risk for family? Besides, between Hinata-chan and me, we can see most traps ahead of time. I'm game if you approach her with a shadow clone, said Sasuke. Me too, agreed Hinata. Alright, said Naruto. She's this way. Naruto led the way. As they neared the presumptive Uzumaki, Naruto saw that she had stumbled onto a giant bear. The girl began to run as the bear chased her. She's in trouble from a bear, Naruto said as she started to run. Naruto, you idiot, yelled Sasuke. Naruto formed 6 shadow clones as she ran. She ran into a clearing in time to see the red-headed girl trip. Naruto let loose a volley of kunai. Her clones did as well. The bear roared at her and turned away from its prey. Sasuke came up beside her and nailed the bear in both eyes with kunai, killing it. Hinata approached the two. Naruto's contingency clone stayed in the trees to perform a quick replacement, if needed. Thank you for saving me, but I don't have my team scroll, said the girl. Actually, I was hoping to talk to you, said Naruto. I noticed your red hair and can see that you have a large, dense chakra reserve. Are you an Uzumaki? The girl looked at her suspiciously. Why do you want to know? Sasuke hit the back of Naruto's head. Idiot, introduce yourself. Naruto grinned sheepishly. Oh, sorry. I'm Uzumaki Naruto. I was wondering if you were a cousin. The redhead looked doubtful. Really? Was your mother a Hyuga? Oh, my eyes, said Naruto. No, my mother was an Uzumaki, although my father wasn't. My eyes and coloring in these weird horns are from a run-in with missing Nin a few months ago. She looked even more doubtful. They transplanted them? No, there was a weird reaction to some foreign chakra they introduced me to which caused me to manifest some long dormant features. The Uzumaki clan is distantly related to the Hyuga clan, Senju and Uchiha, too. So you were a redhead before? Naruto shook her head. Blonde, actually. They say I took after my father for coloring, although they say I look like my mother otherwise. Okay, she said. I'll believe you, provisionally. I can sense you have a monstrous amount of chakra even though you're restraining it, which means you might be an Uzumaki. Naruto smiled brightly. You can do that too? I'm not very good at it, since it's easier to just use my Byakugan. The girl returned her smile. My name is Uzumaki Karen. Pleased to meet you. Naruto said, this guy is Uchiha Sasuke and my other teammate is Hyuga Hinata. What happened to your team? Karen frowned. The forest happened to them. We wandered into a giant tiger's den while trying to find a place to camp. They didn't listen to my warning and got caught. I ran and managed to shake the tigers. I spent the night in a tree and then ended up getting chased by that bear. Oh, my condolences, said Naruto. Karen shrugged. We weren't close. They put us together just for the exams. There was an awkward lull, so finally Naruto blurted out, how do you like Kuza? Karen grimaced. I hate it. They worked my mother to death healing their wounded after taking us in. I'm not sure I can expect anything different. Oh, said Naruto. What are your plans then? Maybe I can talk to the Hokage about you staying here. Shior-san suggested a town elsewhere in Kusa no Kuni I might go to if I didn't want to go back to Kusagakure no Sato. Naruto asked, who's Shior-san? Did you see the feminine guy with the freaky tongue that talked to the crazy proctor lady at the beginning of this exam? Naruto widened her eyes. Oh, that guy. I wouldn't listen to anything that guy said. He was Orochimaru, the missing nin in disguise. Really bad news. Karen frowned. Figures, with my luck. Do you really know the Hokage? Naruto smiled. Yep. He even lets me call him Jiken. Maybe he can figure out how we're related. Really? Sasuke snorted. No one has ever bothered to teach this idiot manners until recently. For some reason Hokage-sama tolerates it. Be nice, Sasuke-kun, murmured Hinata. Okay, said Karen, I'll talk to the Hokage with you. Great, Naruto said excitedly. Let's hurry and finish this thing, said Sasuke. Do you want to come with us, Karen-chan? Asked Naruto. If your teammates are already dead, there's no point in you staying. Please. The redhead replied. The four genin resumed their trek to the tower. Within another hour they arrived. Naruto ignored Hinata and Sasuke as they read the clue on the wall. She pulled out the 3 scrolls that they had collected. I think we should unroll one of each kind, said Hinata. Naruto handed an earth scroll to Sasuke and put the extra one back in her vest. Ready? She asked as she held the heaven scroll. Sasuke nodded. They both unrolled the scrolls and then dropped them as characters began to move on the scrolls and smoke emerged. A familiar figure could be seen in the smoke as it cleared. Iruka-sensei. Naruto called. She ran to her favorite academy teacher. Hi, Naruto-chan, he said. I'm glad you made it through. Who's your friend? This is Uzumaki Karen. Her team fell victim to the wildlife, so she came with us, Naruto said. Uzumaki, huh? Iruka said. A relative? Maybe, said Naruto. We'll ask the Hokage about it, but that's for later. Listen, Iruka, we really need to talk to the Hokage about something else that happened in the forest. Iruka looked at Sasuke and Hinata. They both had serious faces. It's true, said Hinata. Something happened that Hokage-sama needs to know about. Iruka guided them to rooms, where they could wash up and change. Karen got her own room, assuming her teammates did not show up later. Team 7 got a room to share. 2 hours later Kakashi came to see them. What do you need to see Hokage-sama about? He asked. We ran into Orochimaru in the forest, said Naruto, and he tried to mark us. What? Their sensei exclaimed. Let me see. I said he tried to mark us, sensei, said Naruto. I escaped completely, mostly due to the Kyuubi, I think. I was able to remove the snake's marks from Hinata-chan and Sasuke-kun, but had to patch a wound in their chakra networks with my chakra. It left a moon mark where Orochimaru's mark was trying to stabilize. Let me see, Kakashi repeated. Kakashi examined Hinata and Sasuke. He motioned for Naruto to bare her neck as well. Naruto rolled her eyes, but did as he asked. What did the mark look like before you removed it? Asked Kakashi. For that matter, how did you remove it? It looked like 3 tomoe in a circle, Naruto said, remembering what her clones had seen. I removed it by absorbing the chakra out of it. You can do that? Asked Kakashi, surprised. It took me some time to figure out how to do it, but yes. I don't think I could do it in a fight, at least not at this point, maybe a Baiju's chakra. You think you could absorb a Baiju's chakra? He asked, startled. I can instantly absorb any chakra I get from the Kyuubi, since it was split from what was essentially my predecessor. It could be because I'm used to it since it's been sealed in me since birth, but judging by what happened with that Zetsu creature, I think I could do it with any of them. Zetsu? Kakashi said. That creature you met after you'd been kidnapped? Yes. It said it was Kaguya's offspring. The QB didn't recognize it, but I think it might have been made from Kaguya's chakra as a kind of servant or surrogate. Said Kakashi. It's too bad we can't test this safely. You do know there are 1 or 2 other Jinchuriki in the exams, right? You can't exactly go up to someone and ask if you can test out your immunity to their secret weapon, dead last, said Sasuke. Naruto chuckled sheepishly. Very well, said Kakashi. I'll pass along what you've told me. Hokage-sama will probably want to talk to you. I'd also expect a full medical examination to make sure that there aren't any hidden surprises. Naruto groaned. Several hours later, after a medical exam, Naruto and her teammates were brought into a room where the Hokage was waiting. Naruto and her teammates explained about their encounter with Orochimaru. Naruto went on to explain how she had dealt with the cursed seals. Do you think you could remove one of Orochimaru's cursed seals that has been in place for a long time? Asked the Hokage. I think so, Naruto said. The question is whether I could patch the chakra system after removing the seal. If the seal has integrated into the person's chakra system too much, it might leave a wound too big for me to patch. I'm not sure I'm comfortable with you leaving a large amount of your chakra in someone, Naruto-kun, said the Hokage. I had to save Hinata-chan, said Naruto. She was really bad off, dying as far as I could tell. Plus, it's better than having Orochimaru's mark, isn't it? The chakra I left in them isn't programmed to do anything. I'm not saying you did the wrong thing, Naruto-kun, said the Hokage. But perhaps it would not be necessary with a skilled medic nin on hand. We do have a shinobi who has Orochimaru's cursed seal, the Hokage continued after a moment's thought. She's never used it consciously, so perhaps you could remove it, if we had the proper backup on hand to heal any breach in her chakra system. I'd be happy to help, Jiken, she said. You must have incredible chakra control to have manufactured a patch, said the Hokage. I thought your chakra control was just getting decent. Well, as you know, it started off pretty bad, said Naruto. But I've been getting lots better, especially since the QB stopped fighting me and I learned how to use shadow clones to practice chakra control. I think I can control my chakra as effectively as Hinata-chan now. Maybe a little better. You have Hyuga level chakra control with your size chakra reserves? Asked the Hokage incredulously. At your age? I've been practicing lots, Jiken, she said. Plus, my chakra just seems disposed to do what I want, since my kidnapping. I'm happy that you've improved so much, Naruto-kun. Me too, Jiken, she said. It feels good not to be the dead last anymore. Sasuke snorted. Just because you're skilled now, doesn't mean you're not still an idiot at times, dead last. Naruto stuck out her tongue at him. At least I know how to smile, Imo-chan. Hinata rolled her eyes at them. Jiken, Naruto said. We met another Uzumaki. She's from Kusa, although I don't think she was born there. She doesn't want to go back. Can she stay here? The Hokage sighed. I'm not trying to be mean, Naruto-chan, but if Kusa wants her back, we can't keep her without causing a major incident and likely losing our alliance. Her teammates are dead. Couldn't she just disappear? The Hokage sighed again. I'll talk about it with you and her sometime after this stage of the exams is over, okay? I can't promise anything, but we'll see. Naruto smiled. Thanks, Jiken. The next couple of days were relaxing, in a way. There weren't facilities to train, so there wasn't much to do other than read, talk, and rest. Kiba's team arrived shortly after they did, which meant that Sasuke hid in their rooms all day to avoid Sakura. This only intensified after Ino's team arrived the following day. Hinata's cousin's team arrived just before Team 10. Rather than deal with his glares, Hinata decided to keep Sasuke company. Karen also hid in her room, so that she would not be seen if anyone from Kusa showed up. Naruto took to wandering the tower when boredom drove her out of their room. Naruto was surprised to see the green-haired Taki shinobi that she thought might be another Jinchuriki sitting by herself on a balcony overlooking the forest. She decided to approach her because she was curious about what being a Baijuu container was like in a different village. Hey, Naruto said. My name's Uzumaki Naruto. Do you mind if I sit with you? The Taki nin just shrugged. I can't stop you. This little one contains the Nanabi no Kabutamoshi, stepmother, said the QB. Are you excited for the next stage? Naruto asked. The Taki nin snorted. I won't be advancing. My idiot teammates sent me ahead to get a scroll and one of them managed to get himself killed while I was gone. I'm going to get blamed for that, but I would have gotten in trouble too if I hadn't listened to them. Par for the course. She snorted again. Naruto sighed. I was hoping we were treated better elsewhere. It sounds like your life has been like mine was up until recently. What do you mean? Asked the other girl suspiciously. Naruto smiled and bowed. Number 7, I'm number 9. Oh, she replied. Chome said there was something odd about you. It's weird that it didn't know that you were a Jinchuriki. It spotted the Ichibi container right away. Chome? Naruto asked. The Nanabi's name, the other replied. Although it insists that I call it lucky number 7. I'm told I have very potent chakra and a very good seal, Naruto explained. That must be why Chome didn't sense the Kyuubi. Chome says you feel like its mother-grandmother, if you can believe it, said the Taki nin. The Kyuubi said something similar, Naruto smiled, but I'm only 12. It's not possible. Do you know what they mean? She asked. Naruto sighed. The Kyuubi thinks that I'm the transmigration of someone called Otsutsuki Kaguya. Chome can tell you about her. I'd rather not talk about her as I'm not going to end up like she did. Chome says you look like her too. Are you going to be alright back in Taki? Asked Naruto to change the subject. She sighed. I'll manage. Our village leader, Shibuki, looks on me like a little sister. He's a bit of a coward, but he manages to shield me from most of the real trouble. It's just that the glares and mutterings get to me. I know what you mean, said Naruto. The Hokage treats me like a granddaughter, but few others treated me well until my team did. The other girl snorted. At least your team is there for you. Mine treats me like an ill-favored tool. Naruto heard her stomach growl and looked at the sun's position. It's lunchtime. Do you want to go with me? I'd like that, Naruto, the other girl said. My name's Fu. Nice to meet you, Fu. As they walked toward the cafeteria, Naruto asked the Kyuubi, I assume you have a name, Kyuubi. Why haven't you told it to me? My name is personal, stepmother, the Kyuubi said softly. I may tell you later, but not now. When the 120 hours were expired, the proctors assembled all of the Genin who had passed the second stage to a large room with 2 balconies where the Hokage was waiting on a slightly raised stage in front of 2 massive arms and hands making a ram seal. Naruto was sad that Karen and Fu were disqualified due to teammate deaths. Anko congratulated them on surviving and turned the time over to the Hokage. The Hokage explained the politics of the Chunin exams and the reason why they were held, it being a way for the individual villages to gain prestige as a proxy for war. He explained that due to the fact that some of the daimyos would be in attendance for the last event, they needed to have a preliminary round to cut the field down to something more manageable. A new proctor, Gecko Hayate, introduced himself and explained the rules for the preliminary round while coughing periodically. An electronic display would randomly select who would fight. The fights would end with submission, knockout, death, or at the word of the proctor. He offered anyone who wanted to, a chance to withdraw. The silver-haired Konoha shinobi who had suppressed his chakra, Kabuto, raised his hand. I need to bow out. I've used too much chakra. I don't have much to begin with. Very well, said Hayate. You may withdraw. Out of curiosity, Naruto turned on her Byakugan. Kabuto's chakra was the same as before, suppressed and with no evidence of there being less of it. Sensei, she whispered. That's one of the guys who was suppressing his chakra. It's still suppressed and the exact same as before the tests. Really? He said under his breath. Interesting. With her Byakugan still active, she saw Kakashi make some hand signs behind his back. An Anbu station behind them disappeared into the shadows. Naruto assumed it was to follow or stop Kabuto for questioning. She was curious as to what would happen to him, but knew better than to ask. Let's see who our first match is, said Hayate. The electronic sign flashed for a few seconds and 2 names popped up. First up is Uzumaki Naruto and Tenten, both of Konoha, Hayate read off. Everyone else please move to the balcony. Naruto recognized Hinata's cousin's teammate. If she remembered correctly from Hinata's brief during the Bell test all those months ago, Tenten primarily used thrown weapons, so they were both ranged specialists. It promised to be an interesting and challenging fight. As they both faced off against each other, the other girl spoke. I'm glad to see you've gotten a somewhat better outfit. Your old one was a disgrace to every serious kunoichi. Naruto snorted. If the only thing about me that people remember about me is my outfit, Then it's done its job. Tenten frowned. Naruto added. Plus orange is awesome. The other girl rolled her eyes. Are you both ready? The proctor asked. Yes, they both answered near simultaneously. Ready? Fight. Both girls jumped back. Naruto brought out a set of bolas to test the waters. Tenten was slightly quicker at pulling out a brace of shuriken, but paused before throwing them. Are those bolas? Yes, they are, she replied. Wow, I've never seen any in action. Can you show them to me after? Naruto smirked. You can just stand still and I'll demonstrate them. Tenten snorted. No, thanks. Naruto twirled the bolas quickly and let them fly. Tenten aimed for a fraction of a second and threw one of her shuriken. It deflected one of the weights, but the momentum of the bolas spinning kept them largely on target. Tenten dodged to the side. Those things are annoying, she said. I know, Naruto said, smirking. Want to see something else annoying? She made her favorite hand sign. She could do it without now, but it was easier to do it with it and she figured it was a good trick to hold in reserve. She intentionally molded the chakra roughly to produce a lot of chakra smoke. She made 45 clones and disguised 29 of them and herself as kunai and one as a mouse with its Byakugan active. Disguising as a weapon took much more chakra than even doing an animal the same size, but she had chakra to spare. The main disadvantage was not being able to sense anything, but shadow clones could be used to get around that. The remaining 15 clones picked the disguised kunai up before the smoke dissipated. They quickly spread out around the edge of the arena. The mouse hid in a hole in the wall. Tenten frowned and started quickly throwing kunai. Most of her throws connected to Naruto's annoyance, but her clones simply made more of themselves to compensate. She did not mind the dropped kunai clones, as the object was to spread them around. Her clones started throwing the kunai, intentionally missing so they would not get deflected. A popped clone's memory reported Tenten saying, I was hoping to save this for later, but there's too many of you to handle a few at a time. A few moments later all of the human form clones were destroyed and reported the use of a technique that Tenten called Twin Rising Dragons, in which she floated into the air with a pair of scrolls and launched dozens of bladed weapons near simultaneously. Almost 3 minutes later the mouse clone dispersed with the instructions for a specific clone to revert to normal. Tenten had finally moved right in front of one in her search for Naruto, since all the obvious clones were gone. About 10 seconds later, Naruto reverted. In hindsight she realized she should have had multiple mice hidden to account for contingencies. She was just in time to hear Hayate say, winner, Uzumaki Naruto. Tenten was frowning as a clone held a kunai to her throat. How'd you do that? Naruto arched an eyebrow. You really expect me to say in front of foreign shinobi? Tenten looked abashed. Ah, good point. I will show you my bolas, when we both have time, if you'd like, Naruto offered. Thanks, I'd like that. The second match was Sasuke vs Kinuta Dosu of Ado. Sasuke easily won because he already knew Dosu's gauntlet gimmick from before the first exam. He kept at range and then used a wire trick to wrap the Ado shinobi up when he mistakenly ignored some kunai that went wide. The third match was Hinata vs her cousin. The whole arena was muttering about Team 7 all going first. The Hokage was glaring at Anko, who was standing next to the display. Anko simply shrugged. When the two Hyuga stood opposite each other, Neji said, you should forfeit, Hinata-sama. A failure like you could never win against someone like me. Hinata cocked her head to the side and said, how do you know I'm a failure? We've barely talked to each other for months. You know nothing of my shinobi career. Neji snorted. Someone who cannot even defeat their 5 years younger sister in a spar can hardly be considered otherwise. Hinata laughed softly, you should not mistake a conscious decision to protect my sister for a lack of skill, Neji Niazan. Neji looked nonplussed at Hinata's calm demeanor and ready answers. Neji then snorted. We both know I am more skilled than you. You have no chance of winning. Perhaps, said Hinata, but we won't know until the match is over. There is no perhaps. It is fated. Why must it be this way, Neji Niazan? Family should not act like this. A few minutes difference in the births of our fathers and mine would still be alive, Neji replied coldly as he smoothed the headband that displayed the leaf badge on his forehead. Hinata started to say, I wish. But stopped and looked sadly at him before turning and looking at Hayate. Neji continued to glare at her coldly. Are you both ready? Asked Hayate. Yes, said Hinata. Neji continued to glare at her before saying, yes. Ready? Fight. Naruto turned on her Byakugan to better watch the fight, but left off her Sharingan out of respect for Hinata and her clan's wishes. With the Sharingan to copy the gentle fist taijutsu moves, her massively improved chakra control to create the chakra strikes, and her own Byakugan to target Tenketsu, she figured she could recreate the Hyuga fighting style with some practice if she wanted to, but consciously chose not to. She also wanted to leave her Sharingan as a trump, but with Orochimaru knowing about it, she did not know if there was a point to that. The match was very close. Neji had an advantage in gross speed and strength, which he used to body check Hinata at one point. Hinata had an advantage in flexibility and a very slight one in hand quickness. She also had the advantage of some unorthodox moves. However, Neji was a quick study, and she only surprised him a few times. At first it looked like Hinata would win, but after 10 minutes, Neji's final advantage came to the fore. He had more endurance. The balance tipped and Neji kept closing Hinata's Tenketsu, while Hinata's progress against him halted. "You see, Hinata-sama?" Neji chuckled. "You cannot win. You are still a failure. Forfeit and go home." Naruto seethed inside. Hinata had done very well against the older boy, hardly a failure. "I will not give up," Hinata shouted. She surged her chakra. Naruto could see specks of brighter chakra leak from the patch she had made in Hinata's neck. Hinata's eyes glowed blue and a dark blue pupil manifested in the center. She stretched forth her hand and said, "Divine will." Neji flew backwards and slammed into the wall, knocking him unconscious. Hayate coughed and then said, "Winner, Hyuga Hinata." Hinata slumped and released her chakra, causing her eyes to revert all the way back to normal. Naruto rushed and wrapped her in a hug. "That was awesome, Hinata," she shouted. In a much quieter voice she asked, "Do you know what you did?" Hinata quietly replied, "No." Naruto quietly said, "We'll figure it out later. I have a clue." In the fourth match, Tsuchi-kin of Ado beat Kiba by using a sound-based genjutsu that both the Inuzuka and his partner were especially susceptible to because of their enhanced hearing. The Ado kunoichi used bells attached to senbone to trigger it. The fifth match was between Ino and Sakura. As Naruto had come to expect, both girls wasted the pre-match trash-talking time proclaiming how they would each win the match for my Sasuke-kun. In a surprise upset, Sakura beat Ino using a layered genjutsu. Ino sensed and disrupted the first, but due to her cockiness, fell victim to the second. "My father placed me in Kurenai-sensei's care during my academy years," said Hinata. "She's the premier genjutsu expert in the village. It appears that she has helped Sakura significantly." Sakura turned to Sasuke, hopefully, but Sasuke simply looked away from her. The pink-haired girl looked disappointed, but brightened as she got back to her team. She received a mix of congratulations and teasing/scolding from her team and sensei. "It looks like Kurenai-sensei is trying to break her of her fangirlishness," Naruto commented. Sasuke snorted. "Good luck to her with that." The sixth match was a wind duel between Ibumizaku of Ado and Tamari of Suna. Tamari simply overpowered the Ado nin using her large fan to create more powerful gusts and blades. "Hey, Naruto-chan. I bet you could have beaten Tenten using the wind techniques you know," said Sasuke quietly. "Probably," said Naruto, "but very few people can guess what I did the way I did it. It's better to be sneakier, especially at this stage." "I bet you just didn't think of it. Right, dead last?" Sasuke ribbed her. Naruto stuck out her tongue. Sasuke chuckled. The seventh match was a slaughter, literally. Gaara of Suna used sand from his gourd to crush Kabuto's teammate Tsurugi Masami when the older Konoha shinobi rushed him. The Suna Jinchuriki muttered about blood for mother as he looked evilly at Naruto. The eighth match faced Akadu Yoroi, Kabuto's other teammate, against Sakura and Kiba's teammate Aburame Shino. The older shinobi leapt at the Aburame with a glowing hand and began to gloat about how he would drain Shino's chakra. To his surprise, Shino dissolved into bugs which sucked him of his chakra. The real Shino emerged from behind the statue of arms doing a ram sign. Shino silently listened to his Hayate proclaim his victory. By this time, Neji's final teammate, Rock Lee, was practically bouncing off the walls. Lee looked like a miniature Mido guy. Naruto wondered if they were related. Lee was beside himself with the desire to test his skills since his teammates had all gone early in the competition. "I hope I go last," he proclaimed. When the sign showed Akimichi Kuji of Konoha versus Kankuro of Suna, Lee yelled very loudly, "No!" It didn't work. When Guy loudly started consoling his student, Naruto concentrated on ignoring them. Kuji quickly used his clan's multi-size and human bullet techniques in an attempt to smash Kankuro. It turned out that the Kankuro he flattened was really a puppet, which managed to poison Kuji in the process. After that, it was only a matter of time before Kuji fell unconscious. The Suna Nin was irritated about the destruction of his puppet, but gave the antidote to the Med Nin upon request. Before the last match was called, Lee leapt down and began hopping around and shadow boxing with himself, ranting about how youthful the match between he and Shikamaru would be. Shikamaru waited until the display showed his name. Then he had to be pushed by an annoyed Ino to get going. He slouched forward until he stood before the still ranting and leaping Lee. "You know what?" Shikamaru said. "This is such a drag. Fighting the junior green beast would be even more troublesome than listening to my mother complain about forfeiting. I don't want a promotion, anyway. I quit." "What? No," yelled Lee. "I want to bask in the springtime of youth. Why can't I burn with the flames of youth? Why did this happen to me, Guy-sensei? Why?" Guy ran to his student and embraced him. The rest of those in the arena averted their eyes. The proctors called the winners down to draw numbers out of a hat. The numbers were sloppily inked. Naruto wondered if it was because they doubted the randomness of the electronic display. The numbers corresponded to who would fight who in the first round of the tournament. Hayate called out, "The fights will be as follows. Hyuga Hinata of Konoha vs Tsuchi Kin of Ado. Uchiha Sasuke of Konoha vs Aburame Shino of Konoha. Rock Lee of Konoha vs Haruno Sakura of Konoha. Uzumaki Naruto of Konoha vs Tamari of Suna. And finally, Gaara of Suna vs Kankuro of Suna. In the second round, the winner of the first fight gets a bye as a reward for going first. The winner of the second fight faces the winner of the third fight. And the winner of the fourth fight faces the winner of the fifth fight. In the third round, the winner of the second round's first fight will face the examinee that received the bye. And the winner of the second round's second fight will receive a bye. The final fight will be between the last two remaining examinees." The first vocal response was Lee saying he could not fight his precious cherry blossom, much to Sakura's dismay as she did not want his attention. Tamari was consoling Kankuro about being matched up against their brother. Said brother just kept staring creepily at Naruto. Naruto did some figuring in her head and said, "Hey guys, the way it's set up, the final will be me against whichever of you two wins the semifinals." She must have said it too loudly because Tamari walked over and said quietly, "Since you gave me a laugh at Kankuru's expense when he was being an idiot and we first met, I'll give you some free advice, short stuff. If you want to live, you'll lose to me, rather than face my brother." Naruto smiled and said, "Thanks for the advice, but I think I'll take my chances." A whole month, Naruto yelled as she and her teammates followed Kakashi back to Konoha proper. The tower was located conveniently at one of the edges of the training ground. "Weren't you listening, dead last?" Sasuke asked. She smirked. "No, I was watching the soap opera that was Sakura and Lee." Sasuke shuddered. "So what's the training schedule going to be, sensei?" Naruto asked. "I'm giving you 2 days off and then you'll each be training hard," Kakashi responded. "I can't realistically or fairly train all of you, so I'll be finding at least 2 of you other trainers." "You aren't looking to dump us on someone, are you, Kakashi-sensei?" she said suspiciously. "Would I do that, Naruto-chan?" he asked innocently. "Actually, you've been a pretty decent sensei," Naruto admitted. "Only decent?" he asked, acting hurt. "Yeah," Naruto said with a grin. "You never treat us to ramen. Or something that tastes good," said Sasuke. "You take that back, Imo-chan," Naruto shouted. Naruto and Sasuke squabbled while they continued walking. "Where are we going, sensei?" asked Hinata. "Hokage Tower," he replied. "We need to discuss what happened in the forest." Sasuke and Naruto quieted down. "Didn't we already do that?" Naruto said. "We need a few others to get involved," Kakashi said. At the tower they found the Hokage waiting with the medic that examined them after the second exam, Hinata's father, Anko the second exam proctor, and 2 older shinobi that Naruto recognized as the Hokage's counselors. "First of all," said the Hokage, "I'd like Naruto-kun, Sasuke-kun, and Hinata-kun to explain again the encounter they had in the Forest of Death and what happened afterward." Sasuke started by explaining the encounter with Orochimaru with input from Hinata and Naruto. A frown flashed across Hyashi's face when receiving the curse mark was mentioned. Their own frowns lingered on Anko and the counselors' faces. Naruto went on to describe what happened in her mindscape and then afterward. "So Orochimaru's curse seal is no longer present?" Hyashi asked. The medic said, "No, I examined them quite thoroughly in the forest tower. There is a mark shaped like a moon and there is some of Naruto-san's chakra present in the other two, but no other foreign chakra. Not any of Naruto-san's other chakra? Asked Hiashi carefully. Sasuke-kun and Hinata-kun have been briefed on Naruto-kun's prisoner, the Hokage commented. That's correct, Hyuga-sama, the medic said. Naruto-san's chakra changed slightly after her kidnapping, but it's still quite distinct from her prisoners. The chakra in Hinata-san and Sasuke-san is purely Naruto-san's. He turned to the Hokage. I'd like to quickly examine each of them to make sure that there have been no further complications, Hokage-sama. Very well, he answered. The medic spent about a minute examining each of them. There appears to be no change since I last examined them. The patch Naruto-san made seems to be very stable. Can she remove mine? Anko asked excitedly. Please examine Anko-kun's curse mark, Naruto-kun, the Hokage directed. Naruto placed her hand on Anko's neck over the curse seal. She probed it with her chakra. Since this was the fourth time she had dealt with Orochimaru's chakra, she identified and probed it easily. The connection to Anko's chakra network was more solid, but not any wider than it was with Sasuke. I think I could remove it, but I'm positive her chakra network would need to be healed or patched afterward, she said. The Hokage looked at the medic. Could you stop the chakra hemorrhaging that Naruto-kun talked about? The medic shook his head. What she described is not something I could stop or fix. I'm also sure none of the other medic nin currently in Konoha could do it either. I'm certain that Tsunade-sama could do it, but short of her coming back, you'd need Naruto-san to utilize her patch method. The Hokage thought for a few moments. I'd like to have you wait until we get Tsunade-kun to return, Anko-kun. I'll send a message to recall her. If within 6 months she hasn't returned, I'll allow Naruto-kun to use her patch method. I'm not comfortable with going ahead with that without knowing the long-term effects if there's another method available. All right, said Anko disappointedly. I've dealt with the scumbag's curse for over a decade. I can wait a few more months. The Hokage dismissed Anko and the medic. After they had left, he said, Hinata-kun, you did something unusual in the preliminary match with your cousin. Can you tell us about it? Yes, Hokage-sama, Hinata said. I was doing well against Neji Niazan, but physically I began to tire and it was beginning to show in the way the match was progressing. I reached within myself to gather my chakra in order to reinforce my body. When I gathered at my chakra, there was something odd that happened. I could see the forces that govern the physical world. Instinctively I knew how to manipulate them. The technique I used to repel Neji Niazan came from that knowledge. I don't know why it happened, just that it did. The Hokage said, your eyes changed right before you did the technique. They seemed to glow blue. Hokage-sama, can you describe the change to her eyes, better? Asked her father. I was too far away to say more, said the Hokage. They had a dark blue pupil with a lighter blue creeping in around the edges, said Naruto. Kensai-gan, Hiashi whispered reverently. You know of this, Hiashi-san? The Hokage asked. It is said that our ancestor, Otsutsuki Himura-sama was able to enhance his Byakugan in order to control gravity itself and to enhance his own physical abilities. This evolution of the Byakugan, he called the Tensigan. Naruto said, I was watching Hinata-chan with my own Byakugan when she evolved her eyes. It appeared that brighter specks of chakra were leaving the patch I had made on her chakra system. It is known that Uzumaki chakra is denser than most, said Kakashi. Naruto's mother's chakra was dense enough that she could form a solid object from it. Can you do the Tensigan, Naruto-kun? Asked the Hokage. I don't know. When I focus more chakra to my eyes, something else happens, she said. It's all right to demonstrate, said the Hokage. I trust that my counselors and Hiashi-san will keep this confidential. He looked at them and the three nodded. Naruto activated her Byakugan and then focused more chakra to her eyes, activating her third eye. Sharingan. The female counselor said. It's fully mature now, said the Hokage. I believe it happened while fighting Orochimaru in the Forest of Death, said Naruto. I got my third Tomoe then too, I think, said Sasuke. Can you push more chakra to your eyes? Asked the Hokage. Let me try, she said. She could not seem to force more chakra there, it was kind of like how she could not force it into her hair without pulling from the QB. This time she tried grabbing chakra from her own core, instead of the QB, and then forcing it out of her. It worked and she felt her hair start to grow and move. The world changed and she could see the forces that kept things anchored to the ground. She could also see a glow around the people in the room that was different than their chakra. "I think my eyes changed again," she said. "Your main eyes are the same," said Kakashi, "but your third eye now has 9 tomoe all orbiting along 3 circles. The circles are reminiscent of how Jiraiya-kun described the Rinnegan," said the Hokage, "but the tomoe are still there as is the red color. Jiraiya said the Rinnegan he saw was purplish gray. It's like a combination of the Sharingan and the Rinnegan." "I feel like I could do the divine will technique that Hinata-chan did," Naruto offered. "Please, not in my office," said the Hokage with a smile. "No problem, Jiken," she smiled back at him. She let the chakra go, and her hair went limp, her third eye closed, world went back to normal. "I need to figure out what to do with my hair when I release the technique," she muttered. "It's a pain to keep cutting it." "Can you recreate the Tensigen, Hinata-kun?" asked the Hokage. "I'm not sure. Let me try," she said. Hinata activated her Byakugan. Naruto and Hiashi did as well. Sasuke activated his Sharingan. After a thought, Naruto activated her third eye. She could see Hinata pull more chakra into her eyes. The specks of denser chakra appeared again and the Tensigen manifested. "I don't think I can keep it activated very long at present," said Hinata. "Amazing," murmured Hiashi. As far as Naruto could tell, the patch that appeared almost as if it were an extra chakra gate was remaining stable. Perhaps it was training or imprinting the chakra that passed through it? Hinata released her chakra and her eyes reverted to normal. "I don't think I could do that more than 3 minutes," she said. "I saw the patch and the brighter specks you were talking about, Naruto-san," said Hiashi. "The patch seems to be the source of the brighter specks, but it wasn't diminishing as she kept the Tensigen active." "That's good," said the Hokage. "We wouldn't want this new ability to cause Hinata-kun medical problems." He turned to Sasuke. "We should see if Sasuke-kun's eyes can evolve as well." "Okay," he said. Sasuke still had his eyes active. Naruto saw him surge his chakra. Like Hinata, bright specks of chakra left his patch. Sasuke's eyes changed much like Naruto's third eye, except that his only had 6 tomoe in each instead of Naruto's 9. "I can see what you mean about attractive and repulsive forces," said Sasuke. "I feel like I could change them. I also see what Hinata-chan said about a time limit. I don't think I could keep this up for more than 5 minutes, maximum." "It seems you can access the Rin Sharingan, too," said the Hokage, "but your eyes had 6 tomoe compared to Naruto's 9. Sasuke-kun felt like he could keep his Rin Sharingan active for 5 minutes compared to Hinata-chan's 3 for her Tensigen, said Kakashi thoughtfully. "I wonder if that's due to his larger chakra reserves." "How about you, Naruto-kun?" asked the Hokage. "Maybe half an hour?" she said. "As long as I wasn't doing anything else too strenuous. Much longer if I used the Kyuubi's chakra. I think I could keep my Byakugan and normal Sharingan active indefinitely." "I'm declaring the cause of Hinata-kun and Sasuke-kun's Dujutsu evolution an S-rank secret," said the Hokage. "I'd like all 3 of you to use moderation in using them. Keep it as a trump card for now, please. If you have to use it in the Chunin exams, you may do so, but I'll tell you now that winning through skill rather than power is looked upon more favorably by the judges. Hiashi-san, you may tell your clan elders that Hinata-kun has the Tensigen, if you want, but not why." With that, the Hokage ended the meeting. As Naruto was leaving, Hiashi stopped her. "I'd like to thank you for saving my daughter's life and removing the traitor's mark, Naruto-san," he said. "If there's a personal favor I can give to you, please let me know." "Hinata-chan is my best friend as well as my teammate," Naruto said smiling. "I could hardly do less." "As you say," agreed Hiashi. "The favor is still owed." Hinata's face was red with embarrassment. It had been a while since she had blushed like that. "Come back tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Naruto-chan," said the Hokage, "and we can discuss your other matter," said the Hokage. "Sure, Jiken," called back Naruto. The next day, Naruto arrived at the Hokage's office just in time to see an Anbu drop off Karen. "Good afternoon, Naruto-chan, Karen-san," said the Hokage. "Good afternoon, Jiken," said Naruto. "Good afternoon, Hokage-sama," said Karen. "I've looked over the transcript of the interview you gave, Karen-san," said the Hokage. "I think we can find a place for you here." At this Naruto interrupted him with a cheer. The Hokage smiled indulgently at her. "Do you have something you would like to do?" he asked. "My main skills are my sensor abilities and my healing bite. I can also form chains from my chakra, but I'm not very good at manipulating them. Really? Asked Naruto. My mom could use the chains too. They were her signature technique. Really? Said Karen. Who was she? Naruto looked at the Hokage, pleadingly. The Hokage sighed. I'm going to trust you, Karen-san. Please don't make me regret it. I don't want you repeating this to anyone. Naruto-chan's mother was Uzumaki Kushina, the second oldest grandchild of last daimyo of Uzu no Kuni. Naruto and Karen's eyes both widened at that. This was the first Naruto had heard of her mother's relationship to the last daimyo. She's Kushina Heime's daughter? Asked Karen. When did Kushina Heime die? Yes, said the Hokage. Kushina-chan died the day Naruto-chan was born, unfortunately. We kept Naruto-chan's parentage a secret to protect her. My mother said that Kushina Heime was the most likely member of the daimyo's family to have survived, since she was known to have gone to Konoha before the attack on Uzoshio. Do you know how we're related, Karen-chan? Naruto asked. Third or fourth cousins, I think, Karen said. All Uzumaki are related, but my parents were not close to the ruling family. Do you know of any other relatives that survived? Naruto asked. Karen shook her head. I know of one, the Hokage said. Both Uzumaki whipped their heads to look at him. My student, Senju Tsunade-chan, is the granddaughter of Senju Mito-sama, who was born Uzumaki Mito-sama. She was the aunt of the last daimyo, so Tsunade-chan is your second cousin twice removed, Naruto-chan. How come she wasn't here for me? Asked Naruto. The Hokage sighed. Tsunade-chan has had to deal with great losses in her life. I'm sad to say that she's dealt with it by running away. I've allowed it, but it's been too long. She's not going to recover on her own. I've recalled her, but I don't know if she'll come on her own. She was always a stubborn woman. He looked at Karen. You were talking about your skills and what you wanted to do before we got sidetracked. Oh yes, Karen said. I like to help people, but I don't like that they have to bite me in order to heal them. I'd like to be a real medic nin or maybe a researcher. We can arrange that, said the Hokage. I'd prefer that you not take missions outside the village, for now, so that there's less chance of news getting to Kuza. I can arrange for you to get an apartment in Naruto-chan's building. Another of Naruto-chan's friends that lives there has just started our medic nin training program. Naruto-chan can introduce you to her. The Hokage made a few more arrangements with Karen and then dismissed them. He gave Karen a key to the apartment next to hers on the other side than Haku and Ranmaru's shared apartment. As they walked to their apartment building, Karen asked, "What's your relationship to your male teammate?" "We're friends," she said. "If anything, he's like a brother to me." "Ah, good," Karen said. "You don't mind if I pursue him, then?" Naruto snorted. "You and almost every other girl under 16 in the village and some older. I think Hinata-chan and I are the only two not doing so." Karen grimaced. "If you want my advice, Naruto said, be subtle and slow about it. Sasuke-kun doesn't like stalkers and he doesn't like girls after him for his family or his looks. If you become genuine friends with him first, he's more likely to go on a date with you. He's pretty good at reading people though. He'll be able to tell if you're being genuinely friendly or if you're just being friendly to win him. The other thing is that he respects strength. He doesn't care for those that he doesn't think are taking being a kunoichi seriously." Karen nodded thoughtfully. "Thanks, I'll keep that in mind. Any girl trying to win his heart has a long road in front of her, at least starting now. Maybe when he's older he'll be more interested in that kind of thing." The next day Naruto met with her team to talk about training for the month before the third exam. "First of all, Hinata-chan," said Kakashi, "your father has said he wishes to train you." "Really?" Hinata asked, arching an eyebrow. "It's been quite a number of years since he's been interested in my training." "I couldn't begin to be interested in the politics going on within the Hyuga clan," Kakashi said. "If you want answers, you'll have to ask your father." "So you think it was politics that made him distance himself from me?" Hinata asked. "What part of couldn't begin to be interested did you not understand, Hinata-chan?" Kakashi said with one of his eye smiles. All three of the Chunin hopefuls rolled their eyes at their sensei's antics. "Naruto-chan, Hokage-sama has found someone to teach you. You're to meet your sensei outside the hot springs this afternoon. An Anbu will point him out to you." "The hot springs?" she asked doubtfully. "I'm sure you will learn a lot," he said with another eye smile. "Finally, Sasuke-kun," he continued. "You'll be staying with me. I apologize that you don't all get the experience of learning at my feet, but it wouldn't be fair to spread myself so thin. Somehow, I think Hinata-chan and I will survive, sensei," Naruto said. Make sure you teach Imo-chan more than how to be late. That afternoon Naruto approached the hot springs dubiously. She stood near the front entrance. After a few minutes, a male Onbu in a bear mask appeared beside her. "This way please, Uzumaki-san," he said. He led her around to the back where she saw a tall, older man with spiky white hair standing on top of a toad. He was looking through a hole in the fence and giggling. "Are you serious?" she asked the Onbu. The Onbu nodded, shrugged, and then vanished in a swirl of leaves. Naruto sighed and then marched up to the man and said, "Hey, pervert. Don't you have something else you're supposed to be doing?" "Kid," the pervert responded, "don't make so much noise. You trying to get me killed?" "The Hokage said you were supposed to help me," Naruto said, irritated. He took a look at her and said, "Come back in 5 years and then I can help you." "Get down from there and talk to me or else I'll scream," she said, furious. The man gave a long-suffering sigh and then turned to face her. "What do you want, Bunny-chan?" "My sensei said that the Hokage had arranged for you to prepare me for the Chunin exam final," she snapped. "But I'm having second thoughts on whether that would be worth it." "You're Uzumaki Naruto?" he said dubiously. "I guess you kind of look like her, but she's blonde and wears a hideous orange jumpsuit." He flicked her ear-shaped horns. "She certainly doesn't have those ear things or white eyes." "You're about 4 months out of date, pervert," she snapped. "I can't believe the Hokage wouldn't have told you what happened to me if you were going to train me." "I was in a rush," he admitted with a shrug. "He gave me a report, but I didn't read it. I prefer to make my own judgments. I know one way to make sure of if you're Naruto. Lift up your shirt." "What?" she said flatly. "Come on. Lift up your shirt." "After what I just saw you do you really think I'm going to lift up my shirt for you?" she snarled. "What do you take me for?" he said, affronted. "You're much too young for what you're implying. I want to see your seal. Lift up your shirt and channel some chakra." "Fine," she said. "You better be an awesome sensei." She lifted her shirt to expose her navel and then channeled some chakra. A whirlpool design with 8 spokes coming out of it came into view. "Believe me now?" she said. He nodded absently. "What had happened to you?" he asked. "Read the report. It'll have what you're supposed to know." He glared at her. "I don't even know your name," she said, glaring back. "The Onbu only pointed you out to me. I don't know what you're cleared for and what you're not cleared for." "Ah," he said with a smile. "Then let me introduce myself." He started to do an odd shuffling dance. "From Mount Mayuboku, the man that every man wants to be and every woman wants to be with, I am the gallant Jiraiya, the Toad Sage." "Aha," she said flatly. "I might have been impressed before I actually met you." "What?" he said. "I'm one of the Densetsu no Sanin, the sensei of the Yondaime Hokage, the Gamma Sennin, and one of the most powerful shinobi currently alive." "Wow," she said, and then as he started to grin added, "The Yondaime must have been more talented than I thought to work past that handicap." "Listen, brat," he said. "Do you want to learn from me or not?" "Why would I want to learn from a perverted has-been who can't even read his mission briefing?" she asked. "To be fair, you've changed dramatically since the last time I checked up on you, and I'm not talking about your looks. It's amazing what actually having positive attention will do for a kid," she said sarcastically. Then she had a sudden thought. "You know who I am. You knew my parents. That's the only reason you would check up on me." "I am the village's foremost seal expert," he said blankly. "Checking up on the village Jinchuriki is one of my responsibilities." "You were my father's sensei." She started. "Not here," he said firmly. He grabbed her arm and they disappeared in a flicker. They reappeared in an empty training ground. "You were my father's sensei," she repeated angrily once they stabilized their position. "Was he just a job for you? Was he just another thing to make you famous?" He gently placed a finger over her mouth. "No, he was like my son. I was devastated when he died." "Then why did I grow up alone and unloved, Grandpa?" she said sarcastically. He sighed. "The Hokage asked me to keep my distance to avoid drawing attention to you. With your old coloring, if I took care of you, it would have been obvious whose daughter you were. I didn't agree with the decision, but I understood it. I didn't fight it too hard because the job I do for the village keeps me on the road a lot." She looked at him doubtfully. "That deflects the blame nicely, but yet you couldn't be bothered to read what the Hokage's report on me." "I told you, kid. I wanted to get to know you in person, now that I was finally allowed to meet you." She stared at him for a few moments. He seemed mostly sincere. "Fine. What are you going to teach me?" He smiled broadly. He bit his thumb and slammed it into the ground while saying, "Summoning technique." Characters and symbols spread out from where he had touched the ground, and a large toad that came up to her chest appeared in a puff of smoke. The toad had a large scroll on his back. "I can teach you to summon toads," he said proudly. "The toads can be an effective ally, stepmother," the QB said, "but I would recommend holding off on signing the contract. The summon clans only permit one contract among them. If you sign with the toads, you will not be able to sign with another clan." "Is there another clan that would fit me better?" she asked. "I don't know. Your father summoned toads, but your mother summoned falcons. I just think you should research which summon clan you want to ally with." She thought for a minute. "I'm not dismissing the value of the toads, but shouldn't I know more about summons before I choose one?" He laughed. "You make it sound like summon contracts are common. They aren't. Most shinobi aren't given a chance to sign a contract." "What about my mother's contract?" she asked. "Who has that?" He blinked. "Sensei, the Hokage, has it, I think. He's holding it with your mother's other things until you're old enough for them. Come to think of it, I believe your mother had several summon contracts salvaged from Uzushio, although she could only sign one of them." Naruto smiled. "There you go. I should wait until I can make an educated decision. Do you know when the Hokage was going to give me my parents' things?" Jiraiya scratched his head. "I think he was planning on giving you some of them when you made Chunin." "Will the summon contract help me with the Chunin exam?" she asked. "Not directly," he admitted. "That's one of the reasons why Sensei hasn't given you any of the Uzushio contracts yet. The exam proctors are looking more for your own skill rather than power or connections. Plus, most summons are either not helpful for the third exam or are overkill." "Okay, I'll wait on that then," she said. "I do have some ideas on what I'd like to learn." "Just a moment, Naruto-chan," Jiraiya said. "While summons won't help you directly for the exam, I do think it's time for you to start mastering the Kyuubi's chakra. Sensei told me that you knew about it." She shook her head. "I can already do that." "How many tails?" he asked her. "Tails?" she asked, confused. Then she thought of the way her hair acted. 10, I suppose." 10? He laughed. "It's the Kyuubi. Maybe you better show me." She shrugged. "Okay. Send me some chakra, please," she said to the Kyuubi. She felt the Kyuubi's chakra bubble up within her. She purified it and sent it outward. Her hair grew and separated into 10 tails. She noticed that her dujutsus both activated in the process. Jiraiya's jaw dropped. He shut it and then said, "I don't know what that was, but it wasn't the Kyuubi, Naruto-chan. I've felt the Kyuubi's chakra before, and while what you're doing is impressive, it's not that." "Of course," she said. "I'm purifying the chakra and making it mine. I couldn't use it if I didn't, right?" He laughed. "Purifying it? Are you sure?" She nodded and let go of the chakra. "You should have read the report. I'm sure this would make more sense." He shook his head and laughed. "Most Jinchuriki can't purify their Baiju's chakra. They use it as is. In fact, I've never heard of one that could. Your mother couldn't." "Huh," she said. "I wonder if it's another of those transmigration things." "Transmigration?" he asked. She gave him a rundown on her kidnapping, how she had met the Kyuubi, and what he had said about Kaguya and her transmigration. "I'd heard that you had been kidnapped," he said, "but you escaped before I could do anything about it." He paused and then said, "Were you using the Byakugan? And that third eye, I couldn't decide if it was the Sharingan or the Rinnegan." "Yes, on the Byakugan," she responded. "My other eye started as the Sharingan and still starts that way unless I use more chakra, but Hokage Jiken thinks it might be a combination of the two now. He's been calling it the Rin Sharingan." She told him about Orochimaru's attack and the results of it. "Really? The Uchiha can do your fancy new eye, too?" She nodded. "It has less Tomoe in it and he can't use it for as long, but yes." "Did Sensei tell you I knew a kid that had the Rinnegan?" She nodded. "So what do you think you need for the third exam?" he asked after a few moments. "Speed and to a lesser extent strength. When I fought Orochimaru, I could anticipate what he was going to do through the Sharingan, but I couldn't keep up with him. I can make loads of shadow clones and I know a small number of wind techniques and I've started to learn some fire ones. My taijutsu is decent, but not exceptional. More speed would help with that." "Ah," Jiraiya said. "That's a pretty decent plan. I can help you with that some, but you won't become hugely faster in just 1 month." "I realize that," she said, but I think that will help me the most for the exam and in the long run. Any other wants? He asked. You said you were good with Fuuinjutsu? She said. Since I found out that it was one of my parents' specialties, I've been interested in it. I've dedicated a few clones a day to improving my calligraphy so that I could eventually learn it. He rubbed his chin. Fuuinjutsu would definitely help you long term, but not so much for the exam. I can get you started on the basics, but I don't recommend emphasizing it for the next month. She nodded. Other than that, I'm open to what you think would be helpful, Uro-sensei. He scowled at her. Just sensei is fine. She grinned. You didn't think I was going to let you off the hook for earlier, did you? Naruto discovered that Jiraiya was a decent teacher, when she could get him to focus. It helped that she had specific things she wanted out of him. However, once she got started on any exercises he gave her, he usually vanished. She thought of using disguise to appear as an older, more developed version of herself to keep him attention, but decided that that kind of attention would not help her. To help her with her speed and strength, he drew some resistance seals on arm and leg bands and a belt. To go with that, he gave her some exercises to do and instructions on when to turn them off and when to increase the resistance. He gave her a basic Fuuinjutsu primer and gave her some tips on making storage seals. She mainly had her clones reading the primer and practicing. The primer actually had very few practical seals in it, just a few very basic chakra detection seals and storage seals. She was disappointed that the primer did not have any explosive seals, as she could have used them in the exams. She also had her clones working on chakra control. By this time, she was using an Intro to Medical Ninjutsu book to get more challenging chakra control exercises. She was disappointed that the book did not contain any actual medical ninjutsu, as that would have been interesting. She had found a waterfall and her clones were working on the splitting it to help with her wind manipulation. She had also started on the fire manipulation exercises that she had seen Hinata and Sasuke working on. The fireball, a single large fireball, and phoenix flower, a spread of smaller fireballs, techniques were the only techniques that she had copied with her Sharingan, so she also had clones work on perfecting those. She had copied those from Sasuke, but that was okay since he had copied Great Breakthrough and Gale Palm from her. The fire release techniques were not much harder than the wind release techniques were when she first learned the Great Breakthrough. Wind techniques were much easier now that she had spent the time working on wind manipulation. In addition to Great Breakthrough, a large wall of pushing wind, and Gale Palm, a small directed pushing wind useful for speeding up kunai or shuriken, she had learned the wind blade technique, a launched blade of wind, from Asuma. She had also started to learn how to do Asuma's flying swallow technique to add an extended blade of wind to a weapon, but without a chakra conductive weapon the size of the blade extension she could produce was very limited. She remembered that fire techniques consumed wind techniques and asked Jiraiya about combining them. He told her that collaboration techniques with wind and fire were possible and gave her some tips for combining them, such not to use wide area effect techniques such as Great Breakthrough. To that end, she talked to Suma to teach her the air bullet technique which she could combine with Phoenix Flower using a shadow clone. She practiced the collaboration under the Toad Sage's supervision. Jiraiya gave her some clues on the capabilities of the Rinnegan. He told her stories about the orphans from Ame that he had briefly taught, including the one that had the Rinnegan. The boy was young when he had taught him, so he had not uncovered all of its capabilities. Besides the gravity powers that Naruto had already discovered, Nagato had been able to summon a variety of animals without a contract, absorb people's memories, although the process was lethal, and to absorb chakra from techniques that were fired at him. He could also use all 5 nature releases easily. A week before the finals, Jiraiya taught her an earth release technique called Swamp of the Underworld. It created a sticky, muddy mess that limited mobility by causing enemies to sink into it. Jiraiya thought it would complement her distance techniques. Naruto arrived at the Chunin exam stadium 10 minutes ahead of schedule. To prepare for any potential complications, she had dispatched several shadow clones in disguise, including some as Hyugas to utilize their Byakugan. These clones were strategically positioned throughout the audience. She was one of the last to arrive, with only Shino and the Suna shinobi yet to appear. Kin, the auto ninja, looked both exhausted and anxious. Naruto approached Hinata and Sasuke, with Sakura also nearby, though Sasuke pointedly ignored her. "Hello, Hinata-chan," Sasuke, Naruto greeted. Hinata and Sasuke responded with, "Hello, Naruto-chan," and dead last, respectively. "I'm somewhat surprised you're not late, Sasuke," Naruto remarked, "but it's good to see Kakashi-sensei's punctuality hasn't rubbed off on you." Sasuke rolled his eyes. He suggested I make a grand entrance, but I declined. The trio engaged in light conversation while Sakura attempted to interject. The Suna shinobi arrived shortly thereafter, with the Ichibi Jinchuriki staring intently at Naruto. Shino arrived precisely 1 minute before the designated time. The 10 participants were summoned to the center of the arena. The Hokage delivered a brief speech, followed by an announcer's introduction of the contestants. The proctor for this round, Shiranui Genma, distinct for the senbone he held in his mouth, reiterated the rules, which mirrored those from the preliminaries. Hinata's match was first. As the rest of the group was dismissed to the stands, Naruto noticed her friend subtly rubbing her ears. The match was over quickly. The Ado Kunoichi attacked with senbone, which Hinata deflected with a chakra-enhanced palm, ignoring the remainder. When the Ado shinobi attempted to retreat, Hinata pursued with determination. As the Ado girl tried to escape, Hinata seized the opportunity to incapacitate her using the gentle fist technique. Winner, Hyuga Hinata of Konoha, announced the proctor. Hinata reached for her ears again before bowing to the Hokage and waving to the crowd. Naruto cheered enthusiastically for her teammate. Next was Sasuke and Shino's match, which proved to be an intense game of cat and mouse. Sasuke attempted to corner Shino, who remained elusive and set traps with his Kikaiku insects. Sasuke responded with relentless fire release techniques, destroying Shino's traps. Despite several attempts to ensnare Shino with wire techniques, Shino skillfully used replacement techniques to avoid capture, with Sasuke only managing to incinerate bug clones. Eventually, Shino conceded, saying, "Proctor, I forfeit. My Kikaiku are nearly depleted, and I recognize that Uchiha-san would surpass me in taijutsu." Winner, Uchiha Sasuke of Konoha. Sakura's match followed, pitting her against Lee. Lee spent several minutes before the match extolling his training and the importance of maintaining his youthful spirit, despite his personal feelings for Sakura. "Can we please start?" Sakura finally interrupted. When the match commenced, Sakura quickly cast a complex genjutsu on Lee. Lee, after a burst of chakra, proclaimed, "Release. My training with Gai Sensei has equipped me to overcome your genjutsu, ensuring that the springtime of my youth endures." As Lee continued to shadow box an invisible opponent, Sakura silently positioned herself behind him. Naruto, observing through her Byakugan, noted that Sakura was layering genjutsu upon Lee, who remained oblivious. Lee then faced where he believed the proctor to be, only to be struck from behind by a powerful punch from Sakura. He collapsed immediately. Naruto, recalling Sakura's strength from their academy days, knew just how formidable her strike could be. Winner, Haruno Sakura of Konoha. Naruto's upcoming match was against the Suna Kunoichi, Temari. With a confident leap, Naruto hopped over the edge of the competitor's box and made her way to the center of the arena. "Will you heed my advice?" Temari inquired. "I am aware of your brother's reputation and am not intimidated," Naruto replied firmly. "Very well," Temari said with a trace of doubt, which Naruto understood to be a serious warning. "Are both of you familiar with the rules?" Genma asked. "Yes," they both responded. "Are you ready?" "Yes." "Yes." "Begin," Genma declared as he swiftly moved away from the arena. Naruto initiated the battle with an enhanced great breakthrough as Temari wielded her massive fan. The force of Naruto's wind technique overwhelmed Temari's, propelling the Suna Kunoichi backward. Seizing the moment, Naruto created 20 shadow clones, arranging them in a broad semicircle. All of her clones had their Byakugan activated from the outset, as wind release techniques are challenging to perceive with the naked eye. She kept her Sharingan in reserve, anticipating it would not be necessary. Naruto and her clones began a coordinated assault, launching staggered air bullets at Temari. The blonde Kunoichi responded by swiftly swinging her fan to generate wind blades that disrupted the incoming bullets. However, the sheer volume of attacks forced her to retreat. As Naruto and her clones continued their barrage, Temari discerned that she was being maneuvered. She leapt back and executed a powerful swing of her fan, shouting, "Great task of the dragon." This technique conjured a large tornado roaring towards Naruto. 5 of Naruto's clones countered with great breakthroughs, dissipating the tornado. Naruto and her clones resumed their air bullet assault. Temari jumped back, bit her thumb, smeared the blood on her fan, and swung it to summon a child-sized weasel with an eye patch and a large sickle. The weasel, propelled by the wind currents, spiraled toward Naruto's original position. Meanwhile, Temari had replaced herself with a clone through a seal-less, smoke-free substitution technique, conserving her tactical advantage. All 21 versions of Naruto unleashed overloaded great breakthroughs at the summoned weasel, propelling it forcefully against the arena wall where it dispersed on impact. With one final air bullet attack, Temari found herself cornered at the base of the arena wall. The clone stationed in Naruto's original position created 2 additional clones, which moved to different areas of the arena. These clones worked to disrupt Temari's techniques while awaiting the 2 new clones. "Hey, Temari," called the primary clone, pointing to the 2 clones stationed away from the action. "Would you like to see something impressive?" Naruto intended to showcase a particularly dramatic and powerful technique, one she had not yet tested fully due to a lack of suitable conditions. Although it was based on less powerful versions she had tried before, Naruto believed it would be effective and safe, given that it was only the clones executing it. Her goal was not to severely harm Temari, but she knew the technique could be quite devastating. One clone launched an overcharged Great Breakthrough while the other released an enhanced fireball. Both clones were consumed in a fiery explosion, turning the dirt in a large cone in front of their previous location into glass and covering the wall at the base of the cone with thick, black soot. The shield protecting the spectators shimmered in the intense heat. "Do you think 10 times that amount might be excessive?" the primary clone inquired. "You would not think so if you were this close," Temari replied, her expression grim. The primary clone chuckled. "You saw the preliminaries. Who says I'm actually present?" "Proctor, I concede," Temari announced, wincing. "Winner, Uzumaki Naruto of Konoha," Genma declared. "You have impressive techniques," Naruto complimented Temari as they walked back to their respective boxes. "Do you hold the Weasel contract?" "Thank you, and yes, I do," Temari responded. "How were you able to amplify your techniques so much and utilize so many?" "I possess chakra reserves at the level of a Jounin due to an unofficial bloodline trait," Naruto remarked. While his chakra reserves far exceeded those of a typical Jounin, the title of Kage was indeed a higher rank within the Jounin category. Though not a conventional bloodline ability, immense chakra reserves were a characteristic of the Uzumaki clan. "Is wind release prevalent in Suna? There aren't many individuals here who could offer assistance." "You're proficient in wind release?" Temari inquired. According to Jiraiya, Temari likely had an affinity for all 5 basic nature transformations due to the Rin Sharingan, but she chose not to disclose that information to a foreign shinobi. "Yes," Naruto confirmed, acknowledging that wind release was indeed her primary affinity. "While not all shinobi from Suna possess a wind affinity, a significant number do," Temari explained. "Why didn't you harm or kill me?" Temari asked quietly as they ascended the stairs. Naruto gave her a puzzled look. "Suna and Konoha are allies. I wouldn't attempt to harm you over something like the exams, especially when you seem like a genuinely decent person." "Thank you," Temari responded, her tone subdued. Naruto pondered the reason behind her reserved demeanor, speculating that having a reclusive brother might have contributed to her attitude. The 2 kunoichi exchanged nods before separating to join their respective teams. When the next match was announced, Kankoru forfeited without moving from his seat. Given the interactions between Gaara and his siblings, Naruto had anticipated this outcome. The crowd responded with displeasure. "Winner, Gaara of Suna," the proctor declared, followed by a 30-minute break before the next round. Naruto noticed Sakura, standing near Shino, casting nervous glances at Sasuke. Given Sakura's impressive performance, Naruto decided to offer her some advice. She approached Team 8. "Understand that if you forfeit, Sasuke may never respect you," Naruto said. "He values strength above all else." "Why would you help me?" Sakura asked, her suspicion evident. "Do you want him for yourself?" Naruto laughed lightly. "I'm not interested in dating anyone at the moment. My focus is solely on becoming a skilled shinobi. Besides, I see Sasuke more like a brother." "Stop calling Sasuke-kun names, Bunny-chan," Sakura retorted, taking a swipe at her. Anticipating the gesture, Naruto evaded the attempt. "Don't say I didn't offer help, forehead," she called out as she returned to Sasuke and Hinata. "What were you doing over there, dead last?" Sasuke asked, a note of suspicion in his voice. "Trying to give your number 1 fan a hint," Naruto replied. "I thought we were friends, Naruto-chan?" Sasuke complained. "Sasuke-kun, wouldn't it be a win if she became someone you liked?" Naruto teased. "Not really," Sasuke responded. "Now stop it." After the break, Sasuke and Sakura took the stage. Sakura's face showed determination, while Sasuke remained impassive. Naruto activated her Byakugan. Once again, Sakura initiated the match with a complex genjutsu. Although Sasuke's Sharingan should have countered it, His movements appeared slightly erratic, and his shuriken accuracy was not up to his usual standard, though he remained aware of her position. It must be a non-visual genjutsu, Hinata speculated. It could be affecting his inner ear. Sakura is truly skilled in genjutsu, Naruto observed. She received an excellent mentor for her talents, Hinata agreed. Realizing something was amiss, Sasuke flared his chakra and shouted, "Release." The match swiftly concluded as Sasuke closed the distance and defeated Sakura with ease in taijutsu. Winner, Uchiha Sasuke of Konoha. The proctor announced. "Are you prepared?" Hinata asked Naruto. Naruto smiled confidently. "I've got this under control." Though slightly anxious, Naruto felt prepared. She had devised a solid strategy for dealing with Gaara's sand techniques, incorporating feedback from Jiraiya. Versatility often distinguished powerful shinobi like Jiraiya and the Sannin. The least versatile of the Sannin, Tsunade, was an acknowledged expert in both medical ninjutsu and taijutsu. Ideally, jounin were meant to be versatile, though few truly were. Most Chunin hopefuls she had encountered, despite their skill, lacked alternatives if their specialty was countered. The notable exceptions were Sasuke, Hinata, and herself. She touched the pouch containing her primary counter to Gaara and noted that she also had a secondary plan. Jiraiya had advised having at least 2 strategies for dealing with an opponent, and he preferred 3 or even 4. She had plans C and D, but hoped not to need them. She descended to the arena floor and positioned herself at the center. "Do both participants understand the rules?" Genma inquired. "Yes," Naruto affirmed. Gaara's gaze remained unsettlingly fixed on her. "Gaara of Sunagakure, are you familiar with the rules?" Genma inquired once more. Gaara acknowledged with a nod, his eyes never leaving her. "Are you prepared?" the proctor asked. "Yes," Naruto confirmed. Gaara spoke with a chilling tone, "Mother desires your blood." Genma's expression hardened, but he issued the command, "Begin." Naruto swiftly retreated, creating distance as sand began to pour from Gaara's gourd. Performing the boar and tiger seals, she proclaimed, "Swamp of the underworld," and channeled a significant amount of chakra into the technique. The ground beneath Gaara transformed into a viscous sludge, causing him to sink. Despite the sand pouring from his gourd to counteract the sinking, Gaara was ensnared up to his knees. The swamp's grip resisted his attempts to free himself. As the initial wave of sand advanced towards her, Naruto retrieved a kunai from her pouch and hurled it at the advancing sand. The kunai was attached to a paper tag, designed to release a large volume of water upon detonation. This was a specialized time-release storage seal she had crafted with Jiraiya's guidance, who had taught her the basics of Fuin Jutsu but also helped her integrate this specific trigger. The tag unleashed a torrent of water, further weighting down the sand. Naruto summoned shadow clones, dispersing them around the swamp's perimeter. She seamlessly swapped places with one of her clones positioned behind Gaara. By this time, Gaara had managed to extricate himself from the swamp and was levitating on a sand cloud. Naruto launched another special kunai at his gourd, while her clones threw duplicates of the same weapon. The sand attempted to intercept, but the kunai exploded into water, thoroughly drenching the Suna shinobi. Although the duration of the cloned water's effect was uncertain, the real water was sufficient to complicate his situation. Gaara settled onto the swamp's surface without further sinking, indicating he retained some control over the wet sand. To verify, clumps of wet sand ascended and dispersed into the air, drying out as they went. Shifting to Plan B, Naruto signaled a brief code and swapped with a clone. 2 clones sacrificed themselves by executing a devastating combination of an overloaded Great Breakthrough and an overloaded Fireball technique as soon as the sand reassembled. As the smoke dissipated, shards of broken glass were scattered across the swamp's surface, and Gaara was nowhere to be seen. Naruto hoped he was unharmed, as she had no intention of killing the other Jinchuriki. Her Byakugan focused intently on the swamp, revealing Gaara's chakra. A surge of intense, chaotic chakra erupted from him, forming a colossal tanuki-shaped mound of sand. "Meet your most unpredictable counterpart, the Ichibi no Tanuki," the Kyubi remarked. Feather-like constructs descended from the sky, their artificial nature evident to Naruto's Byakugan. A foreign chakra attempted to infiltrate her system, but she readily expelled it. For additional content, please consider subscribing to my channel, 6-Path Weeb. Thank you for your support. Best regards. 6-Path Weeb.